We've got a lovely, beautiful day. It's Thursday, the 8th of August, 2024. So we're going to call this Starmer's worst nightmare. So what is his worst nightmare? Well, basically, we know that Starmer's a member of the big club. The big club's main tactic is divide and rule. So his worst nightmare would be for us, different groups within society, to unite against him and the big club. So what am I talking about here? So you've got a multicultural society in Britain. Wouldn't it be great if Muslims, atheists, Christians, Hindus, we all stood as one and vocally opposed, peacefully opposed Starmer, the big club, and the police state that they want to construct? Could that happen? I think it definitely could happen. If you think about the Muslim community in Britain, it shouldn't do, what we need to do is to talk to Muslims that we might work with, explain to them that we know about 9/11, we know about 7/7, we know about all of these other fabricated events and how they've actually been pinned on or blamed on the Muslim community. We also, in Britain, talk specifically about Keir Starmer, that this guy is a Blairite. This guy certainly didn't oppose Tony Blair's wars, the murder of over 1 million Iraqis. Most of those people were Muslims. So, we need to explain to people that we know, Muslims that we know, that Keir Starmer is no friend of theirs. So we need to talk to Muslims and convince them that Starmer is our common enemy. The big club is our enemy, and we have to stop taking the bait and fighting each other and turn our attentions instead against resisting Starmer's police state peacefully. Starmer wants to enslave all of us, Christian, Muslim, atheist, Jew. He's as I say, he's a member of the big club, so he hates all of humanity. So, as I say, his worst nightmare is for us all to stand as one, unite against him. So tell him that we don't want his police state, we don't want his greater reset, we don't want his World Economic Forum digital gulag. He can go and do one, and we're going to unite as one against him. If that happens, it's over for them. So what I'm going to talk about now is just some practical things that we can all do to oppose Starmer's police state. Apart from talking with Muslims and trying to find common ground and trying to explain to them that our common enemy is the big club, of which Starmer represents. He's their latest chosen representative. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about would be demonstrations. So we have to be very, very careful. I'm very pleased that people didn't take the bait and turn up for these kind of demonstrations yesterday evening. And if demonstrations are to happen and to be successful, they've got to be like the ones that occurred during the lockdown protests. So if we can get millions of people out, then they're worth doing. And again, it has to be united. So Muslims, Christians, atheists, Hindus, we all have to march as one. I think it works also as well. It can't be organised by, people who have got the wrong image. So, with greatest respect to kind of the Tommy Robinson fans, he's not going to be a uniting figure. Somebody like Danny Rampling, with music and uplifting things, that's how it's going to work if demonstrations are going to work. The other thing that I would say too is We just need to have, if there's a million of us, we can overwhelm any agent provocateurs employed by the state. And again, I don't mean violently, I just mean basically recording them on camera, outing them for what they are, and then flooding YouTube with these images of agent provocateurs, undercover police or MI5, and then provide this as evidence, as I say, via YouTube videos that these people are trying to create order out of chaos. It's one group of police attacking another group of police with the goal of a problem reaction solution. So demonstrations we have to be quite careful about, because if we're not, it can very easily play into their hands. But as I say, if we are to do it, it needs to be big, and it needs to be in the manner of the lockdown demonstrations that took place after the those. Right, some other ideas. So something very, very important is that Stasi Starmer is waiting for us to do anything that's illegal, and then he can just stamp down on us. So any resistance that we do against Starmer and his police state, it has to be lawful, it has to be within the law. And there are plenty of things that we can do, so I'm going to tell you about those now. So one of them, you could call it, I think Max Kaiser called it killer corporation. So we know we live in a corporatocracy, the union of state with corporate power. We can have a lot of influence by not doing certain things. So one of those things could be refusing to purchase anything from one of their corporate masters. Starmer's just a puppet of big corporations, right? So I've never really liked Tesco. A lot of people are talking about maybe what would happen if everybody stopped in unison purchasing from Tesco. So I don't like Morrison's, but if everyone else is going to pick out Tesco, well, I would be obviously for me, I live in Finland, so I don't buy anything from Tesco anyway, but we could actually kill one of their corporations if millions of us refuse to buy anything from Tesco. And then maybe after we've killed off, you just do it again, Sun Tzu style, concentrate your efforts at one point at a time. So after you've bumped off Tesco, maybe the next corporation that we would select might be Coca-Cola. That would be a good one anyway, because they produce these sugary drinks that give people metabolic disease, don't they, and diabetes and all the rest of it. So we have a huge amount of power through organised consumer boycotts of big corporations that are the big club, basically. Second thing that we can do is all go out and withdraw cash every day from the autobanks and keep it at home. And this would be a sensible thing to do, because at some point in the future, near future, they're going to crash the financial system. Digital payments won't work. So those of us who've got cash at home will be okay, we'll be able to buy things. So, and then obviously the other thing to do as well is when you are purchasing things from small businesses, always pay with cash and talk to people about why you're paying cash. So withdraw cash, keep it at home, use cash to finance your purchases. That's second thing we could do that's lawful. Like, they can't stop us from doing that. There's nothing illegal about going to the autobank and withdrawing cash. So let's do it. Another thing that we could do is a national phone-in sick day. So again, these people are completely motivated by money. They go on about AI and stuff, but it's not nowhere near ready. Whether it'll ever be ready in the future to replace labour, let's see. But basically, what we can definitely do is phone in, or maybe even something more dramatic, a week-long national strike, or maybe every other Friday for as long as it takes, a national phone-in sick day. Yeah, that might show them just how numerous we are, and how we're not accepting of their desire to impose a police state on us. Another thing that we can do is use social media. Tell them, what I mean by them is politicians, journalists, that we know that what's going on. We know that your goal is to establish a police state, and we don't consent to it. Another thing that we could do is organise protests and then not turn up. So basically, try to get them to respond to things that are not going to even happen. Just try to wear them down, consume their resources. Another one would be to pay as late as possible, pay energy companies, pay your council tax, pay your taxes. We've got to pay those things, but pay them as late as possible. So we're not breaking any laws, we're not breaking any contracts that we've signed, but we're causing maximum inconvenience by causing them to experience negative cash flow by delaying payments for as long as possible. So that's all legal, and we should do it. Another idea is a national go slow. So maybe in the car, you obey the speed limit. Maybe all of these kind of organisations that have got petty rules, you follow all of these rules to the letter. So society, the economy, everything slows down to a snail pace, and you hammer their economy, you hammer productivity. They won't like that. There's nothing they can do about it too, because you're actually harming them by obeying their regulations and laws. Another thing that we could do is to swamp their bureaucracies, again, consuming their resources. So, for example, make complaints to NHS GPs about what they did. Make complaints to politicians that make it clear that you oppose their desire to impose a police state on us. Make complaints to the police that it's completely unacceptable to criminalise comments, fair comments, criticisms of the police, criticisms of politicians are legitimate in a free society. Email MPs every day and demand a response. Swamp their quangos too. Make complaints to energy companies. They've all got these off what and off gas and all the rest of it. Just swamp these organisations with correspondence. This is perfectly legal. There's nothing they can do to stop it. They gave us the right to make freedom of information requests, so let's utilise that right. Another thing that we can do is use digital funny money, currency that's in our bank accounts, to buy hard physical assets that have no counterparty risk that we hold in our own possession. So, one idea, if you've got a lot of money, might be to purchase land, and then, you've got legal documents, paper documents that grant you title. Purchase coins of value. I'm not going to use like words that will trigger the algor, but you know, for a very long time, particular precious metals acted as money. So we can still purchase, we can swap our digital funny money for real money, and then hold those coins outside of their system where they can't get at them. Well, it's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to have to use violence, break into our homes to get those things. So what we're doing here is keep on trying to emphasize is that we do not use violence. We stay within their laws, but we try to cause their plans to be disrupted. It's possible. Another idea that I like a lot is, you might have seen these auditing channels, is to actually video police, which is legal, but ask them questions. Ask them questions about whether they have sons and daughters, whether they have children. Explain to them whether they think they're likely to be thrown under the bus as useful idiots as soon as Starmer's established his digital gulag. Another thing that we could do is organise a no shopping Sunday. So on Sundays, refuse to purchase anything. That again, they won't like that because they're obsessed with money. So stop spending money on a Sunday. Keep doing it. If you can afford it, cut down on your hours, retire early, withdraw from their systems. I've talked about that quite a lot, so I won't repeat myself. Another thing that we can do, more of us need to set up YouTube channels and just basically use our voice to make it clear that we don't consent to a police state. We don't consent to a great reset. I'm not very articulate. You don't need to be articulate. You just need to have a bit of guts and just go for it, and just very, very calmly say that we don't agree with violence. We don't want a police state. We don't want a World Economic Forum totalitarian digital gulag. Last thing that we can do, you know, for those of us that believe in God, is pray, ask him to help us to overcome this evil, which is Stasi Starmer and his police state. So a few good ideas there, I think, that we can all go with. And as I say, you know, the thing is here is that our opposition must be legal, otherwise he will just jump all over us, and he'll use that as a problem reaction solution to impose his police state. So that's all I want to say today, so God bless.